Preparation shall commence immediately. Welcome back, everyone. Work on the Farmall H starts today. As I stated last time, I'm getting into the noisy transmission first. So I've got a lot of pieces to take off to gain access to that top cover. We will begin by draining the belly pump. You can see it's awfully oily down here. That's because back when I did this tractor the first time, fluid still looks pretty good. Back when I did it the first time, I didn't use the correct gasket material under the control cover, so it didn't take long at all for that to start seeping through that joint, and it's been, well, steadily, slowly dripping ever since, but looks nice and clean in there yet. So while that drains, I'll get to work taking the drawbar off. I've never had the correct stop for the pivot pin up here at the front. It's always been a bolt with a kind of funny stack of washers. We will be correcting that. And the reason I want to get the drawbar off right now, as I make some room, I've just been running this flat strap over the top of the drawbar so it can run on the swing plate. And I've thrown a lot of grease on it over the years because friction. This is getting replaced with a roller, so we will be doing away with this piece, but that's so dirty. I've walked into it a bunch of times and got it all over me. I just want to get it out of the way now before I manage to make a mess. And usually if I pick up on the drawbar, it makes that center pin fall out. We might as well get the PTO shield out of the way too. Fenders. Now, who put all this dirt here? Vacuum's fine, but you just wait till I find that guy. Seat. Lights can come off. We're going to redo all this because, well, when I did these the first time, this was back in the day where I was like, we're going to do this like it was originally done. So just a power wire to the input, and we rely on the contact ground. And it only took about a year before I learned that that's just, you're fighting dirty grounds all the time, even though I put electrical grease on everything. I run dedicated grounds to everything else. So wiring's all going to be redone. Lights are going to be redone. They both need to have new reflectors put in. We're keeping everything 6 volt. I'm not a believer in 12 volt when things originally were 6. Keep it the way they were, but that's one improvement I will make when it comes to electrical is good dedicated grounds for everything. And I might just end up going with new lights because you can get new ones for about, I thought this was going to go a lot smoother than it is. You can get all new lights for about the cost of the reflectors and lenses and gaskets, and you might as well just get a new light. After some battling, we got it. Toolbox can come off. And yeah, when my grandpa painted this the first time, he had the tree backwards on the pedestal, so that's why all the stickers are on the wrong side. I had to flip it around to make the toolbox fit. That's all right, Toolbox covered them all up, but always stories to be told in toolboxes. We'll look at the story in this one. Greasy rags, pretty much standard. Pry bar, that was from the very first pry bar tool set I bought back at the Ford dealer. It went to tractor duty after it got replaced. Some common size wrenches that I keep in here so that if they get lost in the field, no big deal. Trip ropes and a little bungee hasp, always necessary. What was that for? What was this bolt for? It's familiar. Must have been important. Cap for a hydraulic port. Cover from something, I don't remember. Some hairpins in here. We've got the cut off leg of a big cotter pin. I threw it in here because I didn't want it to end up in a tire. And old rusty nail I found in the field, threw it in here, thought I'll throw it away later. This old wrench, story behind this one. So I was across the road, way over there, with the sickle mower one year, and something happened with the sickle mower, and instead of driving all the way back here, I walked across the road to my my grandma and grandpa's place, and grandpa had passed by that point, but I was hoping to find something in his toolkit that I could pop the trip catch on the sickle mower, hinge it out, and I had to do some work on the drive coupling off the PTO, and I found this wrench in his toolbox. I don't know why he kept stuff like this, but I'm like, you know, that looks like it could be handy. And sure enough, it was just the perfect size to go and pop that trip, and I could hinge that sickle bar out anytime I wanted. And I'm like, this has got to live in the toolbox. It's perfect for that. And that's why it's been in the tractor ever since. When I ran the sickle mower, I'd use this actually quite a bit. And as long as we're on the topic of the sickle mower, that's what this third bracket is for on this axle. So the drawbar uses the inside one, but the spacing of the sickle mower frame meant that I had to have this one out here when I had that attached to the tractor. And after the wheel spacing adjustment we're going to make, the sickle mower is not going to be able to fit on here anyway. And since we've got the brush hog for that Ford tractor with the 3-point, I haven't had the sickle mower on here since. So it's kind of a thing of the past anyhow, but I'll get the rest of these brackets off too while I'm at it. Hood is next. If I can get the camera, there we are. And another interesting story with this. I know this isn't the original hood of the tractor because it had this hole right here. I plugged it with this rubber grommet. That is a distillate hood. So the gasoline starting tank cap would have stuck out right there. And this one has the X1 stamped behind the serial number, indicating it was the dedicated gasoline engine from the start. So the hoods are different. The gasoline hood would not have had this hole. So at one point in time, the old hood must have become damaged or something, and they just had this one that they found from a distillate tractor. It still fits, so they put it on. So that's another piece I will either be just patching to return it to more of a correct version, or the upcoming swap meet, I might be looking to see if they have a decent looking gasoline version hood available for sale. Tree out of the way now. Gas tank. And since I'm replacing the belt pulley anyhow, might as well get that out of my way. Working on the power coupling for the belly pump now. We have to depress the clutch so we can spin it around, get the other pin out. Slide the collar and slide the collar, and just like that, it drops out. And we've got some oil in here. Let's see if we can get a little better look. From what I have determined, I think most of it's coming out of that seal on the front of the belly pump, the input. But we know we have to replace this gasket for the cover, and also the gasket up there off my small pinky finger for there for that hydraulic port manifold. Both of those are that same substandard gasket material, and they're both seeping oil, so we might as well look at that seal while we're in it. Everything back here, actually, on the transmission input side, looks pretty dry. We had a little bit of hydraulic oil migrating down that coupling, and then running a lot of that was from that back there. So I've got some pretty red 85W140 in here, and that's all hydraulic oil on the bottom. So that's promising anyhow. Taking all the pipes out of the belly pump, we are going to eliminate this hydraulic hose as well. Yep, I thought there might be some oil in there. So I got the pan. This was what went to the back and ran the lift cylinder for the sickle mower. And again, since we're not planning on running a sickle mower anymore, we're going to delete this hose. Pedals. Brake tins and bands. It's looking pretty good in there yet. Same here. Belt drive is next. And now the shifter. Funny story with this too. So my grandpa never liked the whole cross pin with Welsh plugs holding it all together. He thought that was just too much to have to mess with. So all of his H's ended up with a carriage bolt through the bottom of that shifter to hold it together. But the one thing he'd say is, you got to make sure that bolt doesn't work its way out. So I just built such a habit, because this bolt's been in here the whole time I've had the tractor. It just became such a habit. I would just take my boot, and before I'd go for the clutch pedal, just go pop and just hit that carriage bolt every time. And then I'd hit the clutch and shift, and then the next time I would do it, the boot just goes pop, hits the bolt, goes for the clutch pedal, to the point I was even doing that on the Super M, okay, that has never had a carriage bolt in the shifter. It's just one of those things. We're going to correct all of that. I've got the cross pin with the Welch plugs to go in. I'm tired of having a carriage bolt in. I'm going to have to use both hands to do this. There we go. Carriage bolt out. Shifter out. But yeah, that's we'll have to break ourselves of that habit here, not having to kick the side of the shift tower every time we need to hit the clutch. And finally, top cover. Got it all broken loose. So it shouldn't behave. It shouldn't lift too bad. Just a little heavy on that back corner. That's how you take care of tools. Get them right out of your way. Okay, everybody, not a bad first day. Everything came apart pretty well. Didn't fight us too bad. Of course, it's all been apart a couple times before, so that does help quite a bit. And we have the heart of the patient exposed. Everything looks just like it did the last time I was there. And the bulk of our work is going to be up in here. From here on back is good. And I've got a story to tell as to why I believe that input is what is causing the bulk of the drivetrain noise. But it doesn't take long to make them start looking skinny, that's for sure. So I'm going to wrap the episode right here. Thank you for watching, everyone. And a tractor that actually wants to be worked on, it's so refreshing. Progress is a lot faster too. I had fun today, so hope to see y'all back for more.